Hello everyone. Today we'll be working on solving this problem. Find the area of a triangle with vertices of point A at 0, 0, point B at 3, 4, and point C at 4, 3. Take a minute to think about how you would approach this problem. This problem is a combination of a lot of mathematical skills. Do you remember how to plot points on a graph and find the distance between them? This is a prerequisite that will be required for this lesson because this is our first step in how we will find the side lengths of our triangle. To get us started, here's a picture of a graph. We'll use this graph to plot each of the 3 points we were given. Let's start with point A. Point A is the origin of the graph, which is at 0, 0. Next, we'll plot point B, which is over 3 and up 4, at 3, 4. And finally, point C, which is over 4 and up 3. Notice how if we connect these points, we get the 3 sides of a triangle, like so. Now that we see that it's just a triangle, we need to find the distances between each point, or the distances of each side of the triangle. So do you remember when I asked you if you remembered the distance formula? This is where it's going to come into play. The distance formula comes from the Pythagorean theorem, which you should have already learned about. You see, if you are given 2 points, you can always find the distance between the two by drawing it like a right triangle. Here, let's start with point A and point B. See how if when I draw 2 lines, one to the right, stopping at x equals 3, and one down from point B, stopping at y equals 0, we created a right triangle. And this right triangle has 2 sides that we already know the distances of. Since we are looking for the distance between points A and B, we will use these to find the lengths of our 2 legs. We can find the distance of the 2 sides by counting or subtracting like this. X sub 1 minus x sub 2 to find the distance between this point and this point, and y sub 1 minus y sub 2 to find the distance between this point and this point. Or, since we're using points A and B, our x sub 1 will be 3 minus our x sub 2, which is 0, and for our y's will be 4 minus, again, 0. These can be looked at as A and B, respectively, in the Pythagorean theorem. Now that we have A and B, let's plug them into our Pythagorean theorem equation. Here I've rewritten it so it's just a little bit more organized. Well, let's plug it in. 3 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. So now C will be the distance between points A and B. Now that we have a general understanding of where the distance formula comes from, here's a more efficient way to solve this problem, which is the distance between any 2 points, x sub 1, y sub 1, and x sub 2, y sub 2. Now, like I said, given any 2 points, such as x sub 1, comma, y sub 1, and x sub 2, comma, y sub 2. We can use this formula to find the distance between these 2 points. We'll use d to signify distance equals square root of x sub 1 minus x sub 2 squared plus y sub 1 minus y sub 2 squared. And then we plug in the points that we need to find the distances between, and we simply get the distance between them. Now let's try this with all 3 vertices we were given. First, we'll find the distance between A and B. We will call the points in A x sub 1 and y sub 1, and the points in B x sub 2 and y sub 2. Now we can plug them in just like this. We said that points A are going to be x sub 1, so point A at x sub 1 was 0, minus x sub 2 for point B is going to be 3, square it, plus y sub 1 for A was 0, minus y sub 2 is 4, squared, which will equal 5. So this length here is 5. Let's repeat this for the distances between B and C and between C and A. Do this along with me on your paper. Did your answers match up with mine? Great. But if you feel like you need more time, feel free to pause the video while you compute the lengths of the sides. Now that we have the lengths of each of the sides of the triangle we need the area for, we're only one step to solving the whole problem. Just to recap, the measurement of area is two-dimensional. That is, the area of a triangle is the number of square units inside the triangle. So we need to remember to write out our answers in inches squared, meters squared, etc. But in this case, we'll just use units squared. Now, from what we know in geometry so far is that the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. We did not find a height here when we were using the distance formula. So, what do we do when we have all 3 sides of a triangle but no height? Well, there is, in fact, another formula we can use. It's called Heron's formula. Heron's formula is a simple 2-step process. First, we find half the perimeter, which we'll call S. So S equals the length of side A, so we'll call it A, plus the length of side B, we'll call that B, and C all over 2. Then we simply calculate the area using this formula. Area equals the square root of S times S minus, use A again, times S minus B times S minus C. And so these 2 equations are what we're going to use in our final step to solving what the area is of a triangle with vertices of point A at 0, 0, point B at 3, 4, and point C at 4, 3. Now that we've found the sides of our triangle, let's try to use Heron's formula. First, we'll add up the perimeter and divide it by 2. So, S equals the square root of 2 plus 5 plus 5 over 2, which equals roughly about 5.707. Now that we have S, we can do the second step in Heron's formula, which will get us the area. To make things simple, I will just substitute S in, but we will know that whenever S comes up, we need to plug in 5.707. So here it is, area equals 5.707, because we said that we were just going to use this S, so 707 times 5.707 minus square root of 2 times 5.707 minus 5 times 5.707 minus 5 again. Go ahead and pause the video to take some time to plug this into your calculator. Alright, here's what the answer should be. The area equals 3.499, or just 3.5. So let's think back about how we got here. We first used the distance formula to find the lengths of each side. Then we calculated our perimeter and divided by 2 to get S, so that we could use S in the final part of our Heron's formula to find area. Now, I would like you to pause this video and try this similar problem on your own. The area of a triangle with vertices of point A at -1, 4, point B at 2, 3, and point C at 1, 0. Did you get 5 as your rounded answer? Then that is correct. If not, go back and check to make sure you plugged in all of your numbers correctly. Thanks for watching.